Okay, let's talk for a minute about the FlySky i10. I'm going to take the little pilot off. That's an add-on, obviously. I'm running a lanyard. I looked at lanyards, the ones that say stuff like Futaba and stuff on them, and they were kind of expensive. They were like 15 bucks. So I went down to Dick's Sporting Goods and I got a nice Detroit Red Wings one for like $5.99, I think. And for me, it worked out just right. It's just the right size. It's not adjustable, but that's okay. I feel really comfortable with it. But that's Detroit Red Wings. And so just in case Solly is watching, Detroit Rock City, the only Rock City. That's right. Sorry, I had to get that in. These radios are not cheap. They start around 160 to 190 bucks. Obviously, the bracket for the little pilot doesn't come with it. But this is one of the finest radios I've ever seen. It is so easy to learn how to use this thing. Now it comes with, mine came with a nice case. And I got telemetry sensors with mine. If I hook up the telemetry, I can read things like battery voltage and RPM. It's the telemetry stuff is mainly really for flight, but there's a couple of the features that can be used pretty well with tanks. Like I say, mainly like battery voltage and temperature. You can get engine temperature or motor temperature. I've never had a problem with overheating, but I suppose what the heck. Why did they climb the mountain? Because it was there, right? So anyway, I like the case. It's aluminum. It's really robust. It really protects the radio really well. And the radio itself is just really nice to hold. It's thin. It's padded on the sides right where it's supposed to be. Everything matches up. It just feels good in your hands. Okay, now you would have to self-center, but here's a tip about these FlySkys. The i10, all of the i10 series and the i6 use the exact same gimbal. All four gimbals that you see right now are the exact same gimbal. It doesn't matter if it's Turnigy or FlySky, they're completely interchangeable. This is a Turnigy i6, but I can pull the gimbals out of this and they'll go right in that FlySky with no problem, and vice versa. Now, if you want to look at the FlySky i6, I just saw those on sale for like 45 bucks, and this is a great radio for tanks, especially if you want to have one transmitter for each tank. But it does have multiple tank memory, but you can only run one tank at a time. You can only turn on one tank at a time. If you have two tanks and you have them both powered up and you hit engine start on this radio, it'd start both of them if they're both running on this radio. That's not the case with the FlySky. With the FlySky, it has automatic model matching. I can't remember how many models it holds, but I'm pretty sure it's 16. And if you select model 1, you then bind that receiver while it's in model 1 mode, then select model 2, bind the receiver to that tank in model 2 mode, and then you can switch back and forth from 1 to 2 and with both of them running, and you can switch back and forth which one you want to drive. And that's really great. I've also got that feature in my Turnigy 9XR Pro, but I had to get a different module. I had to get the FlySky module to be able to do that. And on that one, you have to assign each receiver to the radio. On the i10, it's just automatic by which number tank it is. That is specific to that receiver, and it won't run any other receiver. And you can bind one receiver for every different tank of the 16. And like I said, you will have to self-center, but that's not a big deal. You can either replace the gimbal, they're kind of hard to find, but the best way is to just get a self-center kit from Ian Judge. They're really cheap, like $10, and it's just a lever, 2 steel pins, and a spring, and it's really easy to do. I did a video on them, I think. I know I did a video on self-centering, but that might have been with the Turnigy. I can't remember. But anyway, with the stick self-centered, you're not in the throttle down position, which is where you would be for flight. And these things are, by the name FlySky, they're pretty much made for flight. They're not really made for tanks. But once you self-center, the way you have to push both of these buttons at once to turn it on. And now you also have to hold down the stick. Okay, so I push 1, 2, stick down. One of my switches is out of place. That one. Okay. I'm going to turn it off again so you can see it start. it makes the flight sound when you turn it on and off. I wanted to get like a MG34 or something. That would be cool. But anyway, when all your switches are in the correct position and you turn it on, it's 1, 2, stick down, comes right on. This screen is like a screen on a smartphone. It's a touch screen. I'm hoping you'll be able to see this in this video. I'll zoom, but then there's a good chance I'll get out of camera because it's not a professional video maker, right? But anyway, the radio comes with this stylus that fits in right there. Okay, so whenever you need it. Now, I use the stylus mainly because I still have the protective screen on there, the one that they put into the factory. I could peel that off, and then it'd be a lot more sensitive to my finger. But with the stylus and the screen, it's no problem. Now, this radio is just great. It tells me right now that my transmitter is fully charged. I'm set for tank number 2, which is my i10, and there's no power to the receiver. I'm not connected to a receiver. All right, now for this, I can, just by touching it, I can bring up stuff. Like I'll bring up my tools menu, okay? You can swipe with it to your different selections. It's just pretty much like a smartphone. Now if I wanted to change from the i10, let's do that. I hit models, select model. Now I'm going to select the Hetzer instead of the i10. So I just touch for, now I've got select model as number 1 instead of number 2. The name is Hetzer. I could copy this or export it or import another model to this. I can delete. There's just all kind of stuff you can do on this. And now I'm set for the Hetzer, and it would only run the Hetzer and would no longer run the i10. The i10 would just sit there and run while I'm driving the Hetzer until I go back to it. Like I said, everything is, when it comes to switches, auxiliary channels, this is so easy. I've even named all my channels. I really hope this is going to show up in the video and that you guys are going to be able to see this. Alright, now the first 4 channels are not auxiliary channels. So this starts actually with channel 5. Okay, so channel 5, I've got my volume. And it's on, I'm going to show you. I'll show you how easy this is. It gives you a diagram of the radio right here, and I'm on that switch. If I wanted to move to a different pot, like if I wanted to move to the upper left pot, I could just touch this square and it'd light up and then it'd be on that pot. And to go back, I just hit return. Okay? It's also got help. See, now everything in there, auxiliary channels, introduction. This function allows users to set auxiliary channels. You can scroll down on this. It shows you everything that you need to know. Note, you can test the auxiliary channel by using the display servo function. For details, see the help for the display servo function. So this is telling you how to test it with the radio itself. And not only does it tell you that you can do that, it's also telling you where to find the instructions for how to. And I think that is really, really cool. I just love this radio. So anyway, I've got volume on that one. My MG34 is on. This is the Hetzer. Oh, it's on. That's with it on the slide switch. I've got that channel set for the slide switch. Elevation is for the gun, and that's on a pot. It says knob VRC. Traverse is a pot. That's knob VRA. These are up here. It's elevation and traverse. And that's another great thing about this radio. If you're not using the pot, watch this. They pop right down in there so that you won't turn it by accident. I'm using this one for volume. I can set my volume where I want it and then pop that in, and I don't have to worry about anything changing. I usually keep them up though because I'm always doing something different with them. Alright, so anyway, right now I don't have channel 9 or channel 10 assigned to anything. I will eventually. I think I'm going to use channel 9 with a Turnigy receiver controlled on-off switch to turn my smoke on and off. That'll go on channel 9. And I still got one more channel 10. And if you use this, I'm not smart enough to use it with stuff like S-Bus and I-Bus, not without a lot of help. But if you can do that kind of stuff, then you can add channels. This thing becomes like a 32-channel radio. It's just ridiculous. And to get out of anything that you've done, all you got to do is hit that return every time. There's your help section. Okay, help. tells you what it does, and no matter where you go in here, when you see that little help section, it'll tell you about that particular section. This one is like a general one, and it tells you about charging the battery in the radio. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. All you got to do to charge it, I'm going to turn this off. You take a regular USB plug. I can't remember if it's micro or mini. I always get them mixed up. But right underneath this piece of rubber, there's a port for the, I think that's a micro USB. All right, and it's also got a jack in there that, to be honest, I don't know what it's for. But I know you plug in right here to charge, okay? And all you got to do is hook it up to any phone charger or to your PC, and it'll charge the battery. And this is all there is to the battery. It's a Li-ion polymer battery. This one's 1700 milliamps. It's 3.7 volts. But I have charged this fully and then not charged it, using it for like testing and stuff a little bit each day. I have not charged it for like 2 weeks. You know, it'll definitely hold up to a whole day, if not a whole weekend of tank driving before you have to recharge the battery. Have I talked long enough? Are you bored yet? What else do you want to know about this thing? The trim adjustment is really easy. Just about everything on it is really simple to do. And whatever I can't figure out how to do on my own, all I got to do is touch that question mark, and that's it. I come to the help section. And also, there's a place called, it used to be Diamond Hobbies. Now it's called Force RC. I think they're in Florida, but I'm not positive. But they are an official FlySky dealer, and the guys there don't have a problem with offering tech support. You can search online, do a Google search for Force RC or Diamond Hobbies, and you should be able to find them with no problem. Like I said, I can't say enough good stuff about this radio. Let's talk about the receivers. Now, I've been using the 10-channel receiver. I've got a 10-channel in the Hetzer and a 10-channel in the i10. Even though in the i10 I'm only currently using 6 channels. In the Hetzer I'm currently using 8 channels. And we'll probably use up the rest of them as well on different stuff, because I might do something with like on-off for the lights or something like that. But if you have the i10 and you have a tank that doesn't need the whole 10-channel receiver to save money, you can use just a 6-channel receiver. Now this is one of the economical ones. It's just got a paper body to it, but it is a FlySky. And this is another FlySky that has the plastic body to it. They're both 6-channel receivers. And it will also run the, I'm not sure what the difference is, but it'll run the other FlySky receivers too. All right, it runs the green ones that match, and then it runs the red ones too. And this is another 6-channel receiver. But the one that I'm using is right here. Let me get you at an angle where you'll be able to see it. Now this is the 10-channel receiver, and like I said, this thing has telemetry. If I ever figure out how to work it, the radio will tell me what my battery voltage is. Of course, I'm using 3 different batteries in this tank, so I wonder if I could read all 3 of them. I'll have to ask my guy about that. That'd be pretty cool. And I could also get, if I wanted, I could get temperature on my motors, and I could probably even get RPM of my sprocket, or maybe my chain sprocket. I could probably set it up because it does have an RPM sensor. So I might be able to use that. I'd have to convert that into speed and get used to it. Maybe a cheat sheet or something to tell me that, 100 RPM is a scale 10 miles an hour or whatever it works out to. But anyway, that's the FlySky i10. And like I said, I think it's a great radio, especially for a guy that wants to have multiple tanks and wants to run them on just one transmitter instead of having a separate radio for every tank. If you have 2 of these, I know for sure they can run together. They won't interfere with each other. It just depends on which radio you have that particular tank bound to. I'm not sure if you can bind one tank to more than one radio at a time. That's something I'd have to look into. But if you had, say, half your tanks on one radio and the other half on the other radio, then you and your tank and partner could each take a radio and be good to go. But anyway, I hope that helped. Like I said, it's the FlySky i10, and I can't say enough good things about it. I just love this thing. See you next time.